Welcome, Arizona Cardinals fans, to the Revenge of the Birds wrap-up show. I'm your host, Seth Cox. With me tonight, my co-host, Tyler. Tyler, the Cardinals beat the Seahawks in Seattle. It's been a long time coming. And Chandler Catanzaro actually did something right.
Yeah, right there at the end of the game, they got a run on the field, no timeouts. About 4 seconds left with the snap, getting hiked to Matt Wild, the new punter for the team that's never held really before. And they drained the field goal for the victory to get out of Seattle. Pretty cool win. Doesn't get them anywhere, doesn't mean anything really for this season for the Cardinals. Gets Seattle out of getting a first-round bye, so that's kind of cool. But other than that, for the Cardinals, it doesn't really mean much. But it was a really fun game, great win.
Yeah, and my mentions, my text, everything is lit up with screw Seattle. I'm glad they beat them. So it's a national thing when the Seahawks lose. It's not even anything just the Cardinals anymore. National attention when any team beats Seattle, but especially in Seattle. The Cardinals really dominated this game for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah,
and to have it come down to a field goal is disappointing, but I mean, I guess that's what you needed in this case for the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a tough game against Seattle. You're never going to just steamroll them, especially up in Seattle. That's not going to happen. Their defense is too aggressive, even when they're missing key pieces like Earl Thomas. They're just too good, But when you got guys like David Johnson on your team, I mean, I guess it makes things a little bit easier. J.J. Nelson, too, had a heck of a game.
Yeah, J.J. Nelson and David Johnson, really kind of the key contributors on offense. Johnson finished with 95 yards rushing, 41 yards receiving, all on the last drive, including a beautiful 29-yard reception on an amazing adjustment. J.J. Nelson was the fire that everybody has been waiting to see all year. 3 catches, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown, ran out of gas at the end. The defense for the first half was amazing. 5 first-half sacks. I'm going off ESPN, so this will get corrected, but they had Marcus Golden with 2, Chandler Jones with 1.5, Alex Okafor with 1, Rodney Gunter with 1, and Calais Campbell with 0.5 sack. It really was the performance we've been waiting for from Arizona until about midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, midway through the fourth quarter, something just switched. Russell Wilson became a MVP caliber player like we saw him down the stretch last year. He kind of just turned it on real quick and led his team back into the game. I mean, it was 31-18, I believe.
Yep.
And yeah, it was 31-18, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this game's over. Wow, I can't believe the Cardinals got out of here that easily. And then Russell Wilson decided to go crazy and throw a great pass to Jermaine Kearse in the corner of the end zone. And Cardinals made some questionable play calling at the end of the game there to throw it as many times as they did and not take clock off. And they threw one to Larry Fitzgerald where he probably could have stayed in bounds, but he got pushed out of bounds, and that stopped the clock too. So there were just some mistakes there at the end, but luckily they still came out with a win without having to go to overtime.
Yeah, and that was the key thing, getting that win, getting out of there. It's always important to beat your rivals, especially on the road. The Cardinals have really struggled this season to close out games. They did it again, but they found a way to win. I mean, I think that's all you can take away from this.
Yeah, I mean, a win is a win, like you said. There were guys that played really poorly. Brandon Williams had a really tough game. I get that he's still a rookie, but he's got to take this game, learn from it. On the flip side, I thought Justin Bethel had a pretty nice game, actually, at corner. He gave up a couple passes, but, I mean, and I don't know if you can rely on him long term, but he had a nice game today. And, I felt like they got good pressure, but again, a win is a win, and they got out of there going into LA for the final game next week.
And that'll be it from us today. We'll be back hopefully next week. Maybe we'll see how the weather is in Chicago for me. But hopefully next week to recap a win over the Rams as the Cardinals have a chance to finish 7-8-1 on the season. Thanks, Tyler.
Yep. Have a good one.